How proud are you to be following the national team?
I'm very proud. I mean, see what they've done in this Euros. The things that they stood for has made me even doubly proud.
Black. England. I'm proud.
So you're a veteran England fan, Billy. You've been to pretty much every tournament England have been at since I've been alive anyway. Just talk me through the tournaments you've been to and what was your favourite and why?
Started in '88, it was Germany '88, it was my first tournament. Since then I've been to 7 World Cups, 7 European Championships and 1 Women's World Cup as well, which was wicked. My favourite tournament without a shadow of a doubt, Japan 2002. What a tournament that was, it was fantastic. The local Japanese were brilliant, the England fans were brilliant. There was a definite change in the fans that went to watch it, the atmosphere. The Japanese were so enthusiastic about England, they made us feel at home, they came out and partied with us, and trust me, that tournament will never, ever be beaten. When I started following Brentford, I was very young. You know, I lived in Isleworth, which is not too far down the road, about a mile down the road. Everyone pretty much in the area was a Brentford fan. You know, some people had other allegiances as well, but it was just a done thing to go and support your local team, and that's what everybody did. I came from a strict West Indian background. My dad wasn't into football. My mum was the first person that actually took me to football. Well, my cousin actually, Keith, he's the first person that actually took me to a game. So I didn't have the same kind of influences when it comes to actually kind of getting your kid into sport as other kids might have done at the time, where they went with their dad and they've had generations going through. I used to get a lot of bother, you know, being a young black kid on the terraces with skinheads on there. I used to get beaten by my own fans. There ain't no black in the Union Jack, send the B back, and all this kind of stuff.
Did your family know about this?
No, my mum and dad didn't know about that, because if they knew about that, I would no way that I would be allowed to football. It was probably dark and it was quite dangerous.
What was it? What was it made you think, despite the fact that I know I'm going to get my head kicked in by my own fans, I'm going to persist with this because I love my club? What was it that made you continuously go back?
I don't know, it's just something inside me. I just didn't want to be defeated. You know, I think back to my dad when he came over here. You know, he came a couple of years after Windrush and he had grief when he came over. As you know, all black people came over here and they were so happy to be in the UK, and they just wanted to come here, they wanted to work, and they thought they were going to be accepted. And they got dogs abused, they couldn't find jobs, they got racially abused, they got beaten, they got all these things. It didn't stop my dad. He carried on going on, and I think that he put that on to me and his kids to say we're going to do the same thing. We're not going to let anybody get us down, but the thing that I enjoyed going to and I loved going to was football. And in them times it's dangerous, and it's dangerous in football, but it's also dangerous walking down the street or going to school. But you learn to be streetwise, you learn how to avoid that to a certain extent, and with football it just became part of the game, which you learn how to get around that. And that's why when I started going to England, I wasn't that perturbed, because I thought, I know the football landscape, I know how to get around it. And the fact is that me going as a black person, I know some people ain't going to like it, but me coming back week in and week out in a place that they don't like me to, and I'm there, that's going to annoy them more than if I'm not there at all.
But as someone that goes to so many England games, how do you feel? How does it make, how proud are you to be following the national team?
I'm very proud. I mean, see what they've done in this Euros. The things that they stood for this Euros has made me even doubly proud. You know, every era you've got a different England team and they mean something to you. The Gary Lineker era, you're like, oh yeah, it's the best team ever. Then you've got the Beckham era, oh yeah, it's the best team ever. You had Shearer doing his things, oh it's fantastic, like, you know. And every time, you know, they bring something else to you as a fan, because for me, you end up supporting the team. What you've never really had is that you've never had a team along the line that you felt had got your back. Yeah. And this team is the first time you actually felt that, not one or two players, we're not talking about like Paul Ince, so you think, yeah, I like Ince because, like, you know, he's a little bit kind of, and he tell people as it is. You've got the team, both black and white, who are saying, tell you something, this is what we're thinking, this is what we're into, this is what we believe. Yes, we'll play football, okay, but also the other thing is that we know that there's a lot of injustice out there. There's a lot of bad things that are going on, but we're going to stand up against that. And anybody out there who is feeling that grief, we're behind you 100%. And for me, that's been going for 40 years, who was getting kicked around the terraces, and I was a solo voice out there. All of a sudden, to hear that, that's music to my ears.
And listen, Billy, I love it here. This is your home, the Globe. I'm loving it here so far, but let's go Wembley now, right?
That's
Let's
right.
over there. Nice one.
Right.
Good talking. Let's head off.
I feel home at this stadium. I've been coming here for, 30, 40 years. I mean, I've been coming here since it was the old Wembley as well. I love the old Wembley. When this place is full and when this place is lively and rocking, it is an unbelievable place to be.
And whereabouts is your seat? Do you know where your Wembley, your England seat is around here? Are we far from it? Well, or are you all over the place?
We're in the zone. This is the zone.
This area,
and
yeah?
This is the area where basically, there's no sitting here. It's all standing. There's block 109, 110, we're in 111, 112. So we could be anywhere here. The atmosphere down here is fantastic. Being with all the England fans, singing, getting behind your team. That's what it's all about.
Do you remember your first ever England game?
England versus Scotland, which is just before the European Championships in 1988, because I was about to go to my first ever England away game in Germany, and I said to my friend DLT, who I went to university with, I said to him, listen, let's go to England and go and see them play Scotland. And let's put it this way, it prepared me for going to Germany, because it was a bit of an eye-opener. As soon as I went to the tournaments, for me, it wasn't really a problem. I was following England, okay? I was there with my friends, and you were supporting the team. No, there weren't many black faces there at all. But you're supporting the team, and I think it's how you carry yourself. I'm not scared. I wasn't worried, and I think also England fans just were there together. So they saw you as another England fan. I don't think, a lot of people turn around and say, you're a black England fan, but as far as I'm concerned, I say, listen, I'm an England fan. Oh yeah, I happen to be black, but I'm an England fan, and I think that's the most important thing. I've been to 15 tournaments with them, 7 World Cups, 7 European Championships, 1 Women's World Cup. Okay, I love travelling with England. It enables me to go out and go to places that I'll never go before. Why would I ever go to Kazakhstan other than go to an England game, And I say the majority of people that I travel with, I go with, I see them, they're wicked. I have great times, they're really friendly, they're really, loyal supporters, and I never have a problem, you know what I'm saying?
What was it like being in the stadium in '96 and England were on the verge of winning a tournament for the first time in how long?
Listen, '96, it was great because there was a different feeling. The edge that you had before sometimes when you went to games was lost. I'd spent years trying to convince people, saying to them, look, it's cool, come to football, why don't you come to football with me? But no one was interested. No one was interested because they thought it was too dangerous, they thought they're going to get beaten, they thought they're going to be racially abused, so none of my friends were interested. But all of a sudden in '96, that changed, and that changed as well with the marketing and also people's attitudes, because maybe a lot of people that weren't tainted with the views of what happened through the 80s, they were just like, well, I like football, I just want to go. But in '96, all of a sudden, there was a lot more people saying, I'm supporting England, I'm English. Yeah, I might have Jamaican roots, I might have Chinese roots, I might have Indian roots, but I was born here.
Something I found very interesting about the Euros just gone by was the amount of families I saw with British Asian and black British who were very happy to openly wear an England shirt, come to games, face paint, wigs, the lot. I hadn't seen that before. I personally am very uncomfortable wearing the England shirt. I support the team, but I would never wear an England shirt in the way that you proudly do. How do you feel about black people in this country who struggle to really get on board with this England team and supporting the national team?
Listen, I totally understand it, and it's born from what's happening in history. You know what I'm saying? I totally understand it. What I'd say is that for me, there've been a number of problems. The race issue, I totally understand it. But the flip side of it, I also say, is that the more black people that go, the more that issue starts to go to the side. Because there's a lot of very good people that go to England, black and white, and the more of you that come down, the more of you that can enjoy the party and just make it better.
Taking the knee was a big subject leading up to the Euros. Many people thought it was the wrong place to be displaying that particular gesture. How did you feel about being in Wembley for those initial couple of games where there was some parts of the ground booing taking the knee?
So taking the knee, it spiraled out of control and it actually really annoyed me. It's before England's friendly in Middlesbrough. I went up to Middlesbrough with a few of my friends, and I remember the night before the game, we sat down in the bar and my friend turned around to me and says, "Billy, what's going to happen if they start booing the knee tomorrow? What are we going to do?" And so the following day, we were at the Middlesbrough game, and the team came out and they did the knee. And I turned around and somebody just started to boo, but it didn't only start booing, it was violently, it was like his face looked like he was going to explode. So I turned around to him and I said, "Look, could you stop?" And he's just carried on booing. I said, "You're making me feel uncomfortable." And he started just carrying on. I said, "You're making me feel uncomfortable."
What are you booing for? What are you booing for?
Would you ever take your kids to an England football game?
I've taken my daughter. My daughter loves coming to England games. Things have changed for me as well because I've been going for years on my own. I've seen my daughter grow up, she's got older, she watches football, she plays football. She's only 12 years old, she loves going. She couldn't wait to come to the Euros. She went to the Women's World Cup a couple of years ago with me. We went out there for a couple of weeks and she loved it. She's asking me questions. She's going to me, "Dad, why are they booing the players?" Because as far as she's concerned, her and all her friends, they're all young, they're thinking, this is a sign of basically that taking the knee is a sign of anti-racism, and anybody who boos is racist. She sees it in black and white. Now I know a lot of people say that's not right, but the fact is that you have to take and listen to a black person, right, and take it from me as to how it looks to us. I think the positive thing what I'll say is that things are never nearly as bad as they were 20 or 30 years ago when I was first going to England and when there's a lot of black people that weren't interested in coming. That's a very good thing, but there are also still things that do happen which have to be stamped out as far as I'm concerned because they ain't right. But the new generation that have been coming to these games and came to the Euros, I think that's a really positive thing, but we need to make sure that they keep on coming back. We need to make sure that they don't turn up and say, "Tell you what, I came and I bought the shirt, but I'm going to put that back in the cupboard because I weren't feeling that." So there's a lot of positive things that we need to continue to do to make sure that the people come back and continue to support the team.